Hey everyone, welcome to Third Shot Podcast. Uncle Greg and I have a very awesome episode in store for you. But before we get into it, please head on over to our social media, Instagram and Facebook at Third Shot Podcast. You can also find us on X at Third Shot Pod. And if you want to watch our episode, which is kind of cool when there's products and stuff going on, you can go to YouTube and search Third Shot Podcast and we'll be right there. And you can do a little toast with us.
Yeah, let's toast.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, today I'm actually wearing a little product.
I like it.
Yeah, it's from our guest later. Dink Ninjas is going to be joining us. And I'm wearing the cap that Dink Ninjas has sent us. And I feel like I'm a celebrity. I'm kind of incognito. If I just put my sunglasses on, just be walking around town, nobody know who Uncle Greg is. Not that anybody does, truly.
I do always kind of feel sorry for celebrities when they go out because the fact that they have to cover up or they feel like they have to cover up. So to give themselves a little bit of privacy. But a lot of times they're still spotted, it seems like. People are out there looking and they are being found.
Truly. I mean, you're in Vegas, so you probably see celebrities all the time. Who have you run into?
I have actually ran into quite a few celebrities out here in Vegas. I think being at a university and then also in Vegas, like everybody comes to Vegas. I think it's put me in quite a few positions to catch glimpses or to come across the paths of very famous people. But I think one of the most famous ones, you might know who he is, LeBron James. You ever heard of him?
I've heard of him. I've heard of that guy. Yeah.
Maybe a couple times, huh?
Yeah. Holy cow. So how did you meet LeBron James?
Yeah, well, working in recreation, I have kind of just been in different circles with different events going on here in town. And back when I was a student, so an undergrad at UNLV, NBA Summer League was hosting kind of like offshoots of different tournaments. And I don't even think it was hosted by Summer League. I think it's like other showcases are being hosted because there's so many prominent people in town and they needed some help with it. And I was just a court monitor at a facility and sitting just it's like a regular high school gymnasium with like two or three courts in there. And somebody comes over and they're like, "Hey, is anybody sitting here? Can I sit here?" And so I look over and LeBron James is standing there. And I was like, yeah, no, you can sit there. That's fine. And beforehand, the staffing told all of the volunteers, like, you might come across some famous players, but you got to remember, like, you're representing us. And so you have to, try not to ask them questions. Don't ask to take photos with them. And so he just asked how I was doing, asked him how he's doing. He's like, good. And then that was the end of it. But it was kind of cool because I got to sit next to LeBron James.
He seems like he's just a massive human being.
Okay, so yes, I thought I was gonna be like, "Whoa, this guy is enormous," because on television,
Yeah.
he always looks so big, but
Yeah.
he was more slender than I was expecting.
Really?
Yeah,
That is surprising. That is so
yeah.
surprising.
Maybe I just had these like ideas in my head because of what I've seen on TV or like in photos, because they always make him look so aggressive and
Yeah.
big, but he
Well, maybe
looked
because other basketball
normal.
players are so slender. When he's on the court next to them, he just looks so much bigger because he is, much stronger than a lot of
Yeah,
the
that could
basketball players.
be. Yeah, and he was just standing by himself too, so it was kind of like there wasn't really a contrast to compare him against, but he looked more normal than I would have thought.
Hmm, that's surprising. I would have
Yeah.
thought, you would just look at him and go, "Oh, he is just a monster of a man."
He was very polite.
That's good. That's good to
Yeah.
hear.
Have you met any famous athletes? I know you have, but let's say who's the most famous athlete that you've met?
Okay, the most famous athlete, that's a good question. Um, well, a funny story about Vegas and basketball players before I talk about the athletes that I've met. So we were down at the MGM Grand, and we were staying there for our daughter's dance convention. and it just so
Mhm.
happened to be at the same time as the summer league. And, in the summer league, all the freshmen or not the freshmen, all the rookies come in, they're playing and stuff like that. And they happen to be staying at the MGM Grand as well too. That's where they put them all up. So we were kind of in the lobby and just mingling around, MGM through the week. And it was so funny because Auntie, she looked at me and she goes, "Man, there's a lot of tall people that stay here." Like, everybody's like 6'8", 7'1", 7'1", and I'm going, "It's the NBA players. They're all staying here this week for the summer league."
That's
She goes, "Oh,
funny.
that makes sense," because we're going, "Why is everybody so tall in this casino? Crazy."
That's hilarious. And to Auntie, because she's so short, I'm sure everybody looks tall, but they must have looked like
But
giant.
they're like twice her size, right? But because they're rookies, they're still pretty young. They were really, really slender. Like, all of
Yeah.
them were very, very slender. To answer your question, so I did get to meet Marshawn Lynch. So he was you
Oh,
beast mode, right? He used to play for the Raiders, and I had the just the benefit of going on a road trip with the Raiders where I get to fly in their plane, stay at their hotel, eat dinner with them and stuff like that. It was one of the
that's so
coolest
cool.
experiences. And it's wild. I had no idea that NFL teams get treated the way they get treated. It's like you're royalty. So,
Really?
yeah, so we show up at the Raider practice facility in Oakland at the time, and they have their own, like, shuttle that takes you to their private tarmac at the Oakland airport. They
Oh
have
my
their own TSA, so you don't have to go through the airport or anything. They have their own little TSA thing. You board the plane, and it's all, like, the coaches and, like, I don't know, kind of the executives sit in the front of the plane. Then all of us sit, and then all of the players sit at the back of the plane, and they're all just kind of partying and stuff like that. But you get to see all the interaction between all the players and everything, which is really cool. And then when you land, they have a police escort from the airport, from the tarmac, all the way to your hotel. Like,
Oh my god.
they block off the freeways, the streets, like, literally you're royalty. Like, you're Queen Elizabeth going through the streets. Nobody is in your way. And then when they get there, everything's roped off. You don't have to check in or anything. You just get brought directly to your room, and all the dinners are, all set up for you, and everything is really cool. So during this whole process, Marshawn Lynch, which was one of my favorite running backs because he's from Oakland. I was born in Oakland, and just a really, really cool guy. Got a chance to talk to him for a bit. Now, in contrast to your LeBron James thing, Marshawn Lynch is not a tall gentleman, but he is thick. Like, you know why he's called beast mode when you're standing next to him, like, his legs, his chest, and everything. I would not wanna try to tackle this guy. He is thick.
So I have seen him actually in Vegas
Oh, you
at
have?
Red Rock Casino. I was there with my husband, well, fiance at the time, and we were having a drink at the bar, and then he was like, kept looking over. And I was like, "Who are you looking at?" Like, I'm over here, and he's looking in the other direction. I was like, "Who is over there?" And he was like, "That guy." And he goes, "Do you recognize him?" I was like, "No." And then he goes, "That's Marshawn Lynch." And I was like, "Oh, I've heard the name before." So I did see him. And yes, he is a beast of a man. That is for sure. And I
Yes.
think he had a few drinks in him when I saw him.
I think he parties a bit. I think he
Yeah.
parties a little bit. Okay, so a little bit of a uncomfortable situation, which was kinda wild. So we flew down there, right? And, they were playing the Chargers. And, like I said, all the coaches are up front, like the head coach, which was Jack Del Rio at the time, ownership, all of those people were up front. Well, they lost the game. And after the game, we get boarded onto the plane, but we're not taking off. We're going, what is taking so long? And the PR people came on board and they go, yeah, we're sorry we're delayed, but they're having a press conference right now. We'll have to wait for ownership and everybody to get back on the plane. Okay. So they get back on the plane. No Coach Del Rio. He got fired after the game and was not allowed to fly home on the plane. They
Oh
left
my
him there.
god.
Or he decided to stay there without not fly home on the plane, whatever the case was. Yeah, so that was the delay. They had the press release to
Whoa.
announce that they had just fired the coach, And I was wondering, like, what's gonna happen? Like, what's the mood gonna be like on the plane, right? Their coach just got fired.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. It was like a party.
It's like when mom and dad leave the house and you're like, "Finally
It was and, like, they lost the game, and it was probably twice as loud on the flight home going than
Oh
going
my
down.
gosh. Wow. That sounds like such a blast. And you have so many stories. I always tell people, like, when I'm explaining to them who my Uncle Greg is, I'm like, and you've got to talk to him. Like, he's got the wildest stories for someone who's so just like chill and like easy to talk to. You've got some really fun stories.
It's, uh it's wild. My life has been a wild ride.
Yeah, sure has. You should write a book.
Oh my gosh, nobody would believe a lot of this stuff.
Right. Yeah, truly.
No, for a future episode, I will talk about how I got to swim with Rob Lowe, the actor.
What?
Yeah, that's future episode, little teaser.
Yeah, we'll take note. That needs to be in there for
That
sure.
has to be somewhere in a future story. Yeah, Uncle Greg swimming with Rob Lowe, yeah.
That is amazing.
Well, we kinda have a pickleball celebrity joining us today, Joel Mower. He is the owner of Dink Ninjas, which has a fantastic brand, a pickleball brand. We'll get into all the things that Dink Ninja is doing. As we bring Joel on, it gives everybody an opportunity to go and like us on our social media, Instagram, Facebook, X, please, all of the above. Go on, check us out, follow us. We really appreciate it. Give us the 5 stars. And all of our podcast platforms, whether Spotify, Apple, YouTube is a big one. Go check us out because you're definitely going to want to see some of the Dink Ninja products when you watch this show. So let's bring on Joel. Welcome, Joel, to Third Shot Podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
We're super excited to hear more about Dink Ninjas and what it's doing for the pickleball community. But before we get into it, we're going to do a little toast to you, Joel, and the work you're doing with Dink Ninjas. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So we've got to start out with your pickleball story. Everyone's got one. How did you get started in pickleball?
I was actually introduced to the sport by a pretty high level pro here in Austin,
Oh,
Brandon Insick-Pong. He's a pretty prominent player in the game and does a lot of pro commentating and playing in a lot of the APP and PPA. And he and his wife and kiddo, he just had one kiddo at the time. They were over at the house for dinner one night, and he asked me if I had started playing pickleball yet, and I said no. And he said, "Well, what the heck's your excuse, buddy?" So I said, "Well, I don't really have one." And so, like a lot of these pros, they've got like 40 paddles on hand. So he walks me out to the trunk of his car, and he's got one of everything out there that's still got the handle guard on it and everything, the grip guard, and says, "Here, try this one." So we walk back in the house, have dinner, and a couple days later, I end up finding myself at a local park here in Georgetown, just down the way, and stacked my paddles in there and jumped on the court. And little old lady said, "So how long have you been playing?" And I said, "This is my first time." And so she just looks at me like, "Oh, okay. So you're new then? That's good." gives me the what for, and 10 minutes in, I'm smiling, having a ball. She's snipping at me. Our opponents are snipping at me. We're having fun, talking trash and mixing it up, and ended up spending an hour and a half there, meeting everybody in that big group that shows up there all the time, and playing around with them. And I was so hooked by the vibe that they were putting off and the sense of community that they had over there. I was like, well, I'm obviously going to plug into this sport and see where it takes me.
So isn't it beautiful, the pickleball community? I mean, that's what kind of is the similar story that everybody has. Everybody has a different introduction to the game, but it's the community that really magnetizes them and says, I gotta be a part of it. Like that's the common thread that Bridgie and I keep hearing. and
Yeah,
you
and
really
that's
give back to the community. You're really involved in community. Talk a little bit about that.
yeah. My goal in just feeling that sense of community right out of the gate when I was introduced to the sport, I felt like, hey, I gotta plug into this. I gotta be a part of it. And so I've really just been my goal of my brand and just me being involved in the sport in the local community here in Greater Central Texas area is just to get as many people plugged into the sport and plugged into the community as possible and get them to um, at least have the entry into experiencing all the benefits, physical, mental health, everything that I experienced. I want everybody else to have that gateway into the sport as well, and be able to experience the fruits of everything it has to offer.
That's amazing. That's kind of our goal too and mission with our podcast. And I'm so happy that we get to have you on it to kind of share the same message that we're putting out there as well. How does that align with your company, Dink Ninjas?
So I started the brand a little over 2 years ago, and I wanted it to be an approachable, fun image and an approachable, fun brand that really invites people in and tries to get people to not take it too seriously. Kind of a cartoon ninja is what I wanted to design there, and kind of a fun, approachable image to the brand. And I think that people have gravitated towards it and kind of bonded with the image, and they don't take it too seriously. You know, they like to have fun, and they think that it's a fun brand to be a part of.
You mentioned how pickleball in the community really helps for mental health. And I know that is something very important to you because you kind of had an interesting pathway into starting your company and kind of the purpose of the company. So, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So long story short, I've been playing in the pickleball community for probably 6 months or so, and at that point, my wife and I we experienced a pretty tough diagnosis. My wife was diagnosed with cancer, and we were parents of young kiddos. We've got a young son and a young daughter, and I was kind of thrown for a loop by the diagnosis. Even though it wasn't me that was diagnosed, it was my wife. We're super much a team, very much a team in our relationship and everything we do. And I kind of felt like, well, holy smokes, we're both super health minded. We're all trying to eat the right stuff, drink the right stuff, and be as healthy as we can. And so I was really caught off guard by that diagnosis. And so kind of sent me into a difficult headspace and trying to figure out how, obviously you're not going to talk to your kids about what's going on unless you absolutely have to. And so I was kind of trying to keep it in on the inside. And I had realized, hey, I'm experiencing a lot of fun community vibes, a lot of camaraderie, and a lot of strength through the community of pickleball. And so I talked to my wife and I decided I'm going to pour all my negative mind space and mental health space into headspace into the game of pickleball. And I decided to um, create this brand. I wanted kind of an entrepreneurial, artistic outlet to kind of try and clear my head. And so I just thought, hey, let's start a brand. Let's design something and let's use that to clear my head. And then I can come back to my wife and kids and family and be a support system that I really want to be. And that's really what it's done for me. It's been such a blessing to have the brand to pour my headspace into, and I can come back and provide strength to my wife and kids. And long story short, I'm super, super blessed. My wife has made a full recovery. She had one recurrence where they discovered some more cells after the surgery to remove the cancer. So she did some oral radiation, and that zapped everything. And all the blood work and everything has been clear. She's been able to make a full recovery and put on all the weight that she wanted back, and hormones are back where they want to be. Everybody wants them to be, and we've just been super blessed. She's been way stronger through this whole experience than I have, and I couldn't be happier. I'm super blessed to have her on my team and continue to do so.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm sure it was such a tough time for you and your family, but we are both very happy to hear that she's doing so much better and is on her road to recovery. I do want to ask, does she play pickleball with you?
Not yet. I've had her out hitting the ball around a little bit, but
Uh-huh.
in this case, it's a little bit tough to hire a babysitter for us to both go play pickleball. So she allows
Understood.
me to be the pickleballer, and she's the support system as of this moment here.
Well,
Amazing.
she's still your pickleball partner because she gets you
Oh,
out on the court, right?
Right,
So
who's holding it
absolutely,
down?
absolutely. And that really speaks to having a great partner in life, to realize, hey, what's providing strength for you, what's giving you those competitive juices and that mental health strength and all that. And somebody that realizes what does that for you and is able to play off of that and provide that for you. I mean, I can't ask for a better partner in life.
oh, that's fantastic. It really does. I mean, Bridgie just got married, so she's found her partner in life. I've been married now for a very long time, so I have just a wonderful wife and partner that allows me to do all these fun things in pickleball as well. So she doesn't play either. So there you go.
There you
Oh,
go.
mine doesn't
Yeah.
either. We're all blessed.
Yeah,
I
really.
love it.
That's funny.
Uh, Congratulations on your marriage.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's very new still as of April, so
Oh,
we're
right
still
on.
in the honeymoon phase. It's wonderful, yeah.
There you go.
So I love just the brand, the name Dink Ninjas. Ninjas, I've always loved watching ninja movies. I'm just infatuated with ninjas. And then obviously the pickleball reference to the Dink. How did you come up with the Dink Ninja name?
So it's actually kind of a funny story. I wasn't sleeping one night, and I thought, hmm, if I'm going to think up a brand name, what how am I going to go about that? And I thought, well, if you're on the court and you're playing against somebody and you don't stand a chance, you're playing against a ninja. They're super deceptive. Um, they're placing the ball in all the spots where you can't get to. And so I wrote it down on a post-it note next to my bed. I always come up with these wild ideas while I'm not sleeping. And so wake up the next morning and I thought, that kind of sticks. I really like that. I really like the Dink Ninja idea. And so I started making hats, and the rest is history.
And for our listeners, I highly recommend heading over to YouTube so you can see some of these hats. Uncle Greg's wearing one and Joel's wearing one right now, but you also offer a whole lot of other products. Your website is so fun to look through. Tell everyone what else you have on there that's for purchase.
So we've just released some of the training paddles that you see behind Bridgie over there, and just did a paddle collaboration with Rain and Wind. Greg out there in Florida. Um, that's this guy right here, kind of colorful.
That is a cool paddle.
Ton of fun to play with, and I just different stuff comes to mind all the time. So we've got a bunch of different designs of quarter zips, hoodies. A little hot in Texas for hoodies right now, but weather changes all the time. But we've got a bunch of T-shirts, moisture wicking shirts, all kinds of little training devices, and we keep getting really lucky to perform or form different collaborations with different brands. So we've got a bunch of accessories with a bunch of different collaborations going on, and some different trophies and awards and all that kind of stuff. But our inventory is always evolving. We're always getting together with different companies and forming collaborations and listing each other's products on there, and it's been a ton of fun.
That's really cool because I went on there and I saw so many different types of products and different branding collaborations like you were mentioning. So if other companies are listening right now that they want to reach out to you and collaborate, does it matter what kind of product they have, or can they do services as well, like coaching? Like where do you draw the line, or do you draw the line?
Oh, I'm just super blessed so far to have started this company and have created something that people want to be a part of. I think it's super exciting, and like we mentioned before, just my goal is to grow the community and give everybody an opportunity to collaborate with us and be a part of what we're doing, and help us grow the brand to continue to grow the community there. So I don't really draw the line anywhere. We've got some collaborations in the works with some different apps in the pickleball space, some health apps, some stretch apps, some different analysis stuff going on there to help up your game. Um, and It's super fun. We love just collaborating with everybody. So if anybody has any interest in collaborating with us, shoot me a DM on Instagram. That's a great way to communicate, and or shoot me an email, or just chat with me through our site. We've got a chat bot on there that you can jump on. But I'd welcome a conversation with anybody in the pickleball space. I think it's super fun.
I love that collaborative aspect of it. And I think that that really sets your company apart. It makes it really unique in the fact that you are willing to collaborate with any sort of pickleball company out there. And it really reflects the community piece of pickleball, which we all really love. How has your company evolved over the years from start to finish? And where do you see it heading in the next like 1 to 5 years?
So just starting out, honestly, one of my buddies, Mark, he's an embroiderer and he's a commercial embroiderer. So he's embroidering towels for hotels and polo shirts for all these different companies. And he's the one who I reached out to with my logo design to get it embroidered on some hats. The first hats I ever started wearing around, and getting some publicity and some growth from that. And just from there, I started getting paddles made, and then people started reaching out to me with different collaboration ideas and opportunities. And I really think that the bigger the marketplace of dinkninjas.com can grow to, I think that the more brands can collaborate in there, and the marketplace of ideas in the pickleball community can grow as well. So I would just like to continue to grow the community and grow our collaborations and grow our branding out there to continue to grow pickleball in a positive way, and create positive energy out there for everybody.
That's the way to do it. I mean, that's what we're all in there. This kind of the same, methodology is like, how do we give back, right? And I think that's so important. You held up a collab with Rain and Wind. They have kind of the beehive pattern on the paddle, and Greg gives back to the bee community. I know giving back is very important to you. Talk a little bit about, what your intentions are, what your goals are as far as giving back with Dink Ninjas.
We're super giving minded, and trying to give back to the mental health community, the cancer community, all that. And um, suicide awareness is really close to me. I had a close relative that I really looked up to, who succumbed to suicide a number of years ago, and so suicide awareness is really close to my heart. But any of these opportunities where we can give back, if it's putting together an event where we can give all the proceeds, all the entry fees back, we're super giving minded to the community, and have a number of different things in the works to give back to veterans causes, give back to mental health causes, cancer benefit, all that kind of stuff. We're super open to.
Love that. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners would be interested in that as well. Can you share with them again what the Instagram and website is that they can find all of this information?
Yeah, my Instagram handle is at Dink Ninjas, and my website is dinkninjas.com.
So where do you think would be like the next product, or where do you think pickleball's going? Like, where do you see the future? Because you're tied into all the different products, and the conversations that are going on around the game. Where do you think pickleball is going?
So I think that to create longevity, and to keep pickleball going in a good direction, I think that the health side of things needs to kind of catch up. Like I said at the start, when I was introduced to the sport, I went out on the court and I played for an hour and a half. And I think that people kind of get caught up in the camaraderie and the fun and all the benefits of playing, but their bodies aren't where they need to be to sustain that much play. A lot of the people that I see out there and talk to all the time, they play pickleball a lot more hours a day than professionals do. And professionals are professionally conditioned to play the sport. And so I think that something that's gonna be developing here and gonna help the game sustain the trajectory that it's on is going to be to get people acquainted with the proper stretches and the proper workouts and the proper diet, proper hydration, proper recovery, all that kind of stuff. I think that that's a segment of the game that's going to fuel the growth and continue it on its trajectory. We've got a collaboration in the works with an application called Pickle RX, and they've got an incredible body mapping application going on that they're releasing here really soon. They've been getting it out in the public and doing some demos in some different venues, and they've got a really cool way of using your smartphone or your iPad, anything that has a camera on it, to film yourself swinging in the different shots. And they can actually map that and get feedback to you to say, hey, this is what we want to do. This is the direction we want to go, to create longevity and create all the different positions that you need to be in, the different movements that you need to be in, the stretches and all that to sustain a high level of play for you. So I think that apps like that are really going to further the sport in a healthy way.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Pickle RX. They're going to be coming on the show very soon here, and from what I've heard, I haven't tried their app out yet, but it's state of the art.
Yeah, I think it's really going to enhance everybody's level of play, whether you're a beginner or you're a top level athlete in the sport. I think that it's got benefits for all levels of play.
Yeah, I do see that type of app also kind of lowering the bar of accessibility for people who are interested in playing pickleball, because a lot of times people may be interested but they're afraid that they're not going to be able to keep up, or they're not going to be able to learn the sport as quickly as others, and so having an app that they can use as a coach or as a way of helping them increase their skill level is going to be fantastic for them.
Yeah, and I think that when you get in the game, you experience all the benefits. If one of the things you experience is an injury, then that's going to curb your enjoyment of the sport, and especially long term in the growth.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what is the most fun experience you've had as a result of owning Dink Ninjas?
Hmm. Well, one of the super fun experiences I had was one of the experiences I had at the Onyx Showdown, the PPA Tour stop out here in Lakeway, Texas, just down the road from me. It was one of the first pro tournaments I had attended, and I walked in. I went straight to center court, and it happened to be Jack Sock playing singles against Hayden Patrickwood, and that was an incredible experience because Jack is one of the most approachable people out there. He's saying hi to everybody. He's got a super fun personality and a super fun demeanor on the court. And he Hayden calls a timeout. Jack walks over to the sideline. I'm standing right there. All of a sudden, I'm talking to Jack Sock, and he's talking to me about what a twerp Hayden is, and he's jawing at him, and he's having fun and snipping at him and everything while he's talking to me. And I thought, this is one of the most fun, approachable sports out there. One of the emerging top pros in the game is walking over to the sideline and talking to me about how much fun it is to play against Hayden and how much fun they have jawing at each other and talking trash and everything. And I thought, that doesn't really happen with any other sports. You can't walk right up to the court and start bantering with one of the pros like that. And that was a super enjoyable experience for me, and still remember it to this day like it was yesterday. It was a great time.
Yeah, that sounds like a really fun time. And I think before Uncle has also mentioned that that's one of his favorite pieces of pickleball is that right now, the way that the pickleball community is set up is there's no other sport where you can go to a tournament and be that close with the pros and having those types of conversations, joking around with them. And that just kind of adds to the amazingness or whatever you want to call it of pickleball, the magical sport of it, is the fact that amateurs, fans can just be at these types of events and be right there alongside professional players.
Yeah, and they're so
Absolutely.
accessible, right? They're willing to talk to you, take pictures with you, sign autographs. I mean, every once in a while you get to hit with them. I mean, it's crazy. You don't get to go out and shoot threes with Steph Curry, when
Yeah.
when he's playing a game. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like everybody's attitude so far that I've met, obviously Austin, Texas, where I'm based, is kind of a hotbed for professional development. A lot of the pros come through and play at a bunch of the different development sites that we have out here. And it seems to me like everybody is still super excited with how new the professional level is, where they're almost caught off guard that they're getting to do this for a living, and they're having a ton of fun doing it. And so I think that really fuels the sport from an amateur and a beginner and just a fan base level of seeing how much fun they're having and seeing how lightly they can take it off the court. I think that really fuels the amateur level as well as just the community in general wanting to be a part of it.
Yeah, it definitely adds to the excitement. But I want to rewind because in the beginning you were telling us about how you got introduced to pickleball. And I have to ask you, how were you having dinner with a professional pickleball player? And how did that whole, like, how do you know this person if you're able to share that or want to share that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Brandon and his wife, Ashley, they've been good friends of ours for a lot of years, for quite a while now. And they're good family friends. We celebrate birthdays together and nights out together and just have a ton of fun together with the kiddos, getting them all together. And Brandon is one of the most down to earth pros you're ever going to meet. If you ever get a chance, walk up to him, give him a fist bump, and start a conversation. I mean, he couldn't be more friendly, couldn't be more accessible, and couldn't be more of a benefit to the pickleball community. He's such a great role model for the sport and is really just trying to grow the community like all of us are. And so he's constantly giving tips to people and doing training clinics with people and of all levels, training them. And I mean, I couldn't be luckier to call him a friend. And I mean, obviously, I'm never gonna approach his duper of whatever 7 point a million that his is right now. But ton of fun to hit with him and get out there and enjoy the sport as a whole with him.
What's it like hitting with a pro of that level?
It's very intimidating.
I was gonna say scary.
No, it's just a ton of fun. There's a lot of pros out here that we're blessed to get to hang out with. And we do a bunch of money ball tournaments where everybody puts in a bunch of money into the pot. They'll put $50 into the pot or something, and then they kind of play it like a poker match, but on the pickleball court. But there's so many high level players out here, and they're a ton of fun to get on the court with. Obviously, they're like the leather and super tool of the sport. They can do anything they want whenever they want on the court. And I haven't quite matured in my gamesmanship to that level yet, but it's a ton of fun to be a part of it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Have they given you any tips that you've like taken to heart and is like, this is what I stand by now. This is my pickleball motto.
One of the so I got super lucky when I first started playing. My wife actually coerced Brandon into giving me some private lessons at a guy's court over here he's got a court in his backyard or a couple of them in his backyard, and so I was able to meet Brandon over there and take some lessons for a couple weekends from him. And one of the tips that he gave me as a beginner was keep the ball in bounds. If you can keep the ball in bounds, you're going to grow your skills really quickly because you're playing inside that box and keeping it in bounds. It's teaching you to slow down in your thought process and slow the game down to where you're placing the ball where you want it to go. And if you can get good enough to where you're placing the ball where you want it to be,
and your opponents are trying to smash it all the time. And all you're trying to do is place it where they're not going to be, or where it makes it difficult for them to be. That was great advice, even to this day. Keeping it in bounds, keeping your serve in bounds, keeping a nice deep serve, dinking, just going about it in a super methodical way. I think is great advice for anybody, to just keep it in bounds and learn to place the ball, and learn to put some finesse into your game versus trying to drive everything. I think is great advice for any player.
That is good advice. I think if you saw me play, his advice would be stick to podcasting, Uncle Greg.
No.
That's a little harsh, buddy. Come on now.
Uncle Greg's good. I don't know what he's talking about.
You guys are being nice. Well, let's take a third shot to Dink Ninjas. And Joel, everything that you're doing for the community, congratulations on it, on all the success that you're having.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Cheers. And the continued success. I know it's going to be, your brand's going to be going for a very long time.
Yeah, that's the hope, for sure.
Well, thanks for joining us. And all of the listeners and viewers, thank you for joining us on Third Shot, where Brigie and I will continue to share our pickleball journey. A real special thanks to Joel. Please check out Dink Ninjas at their website, which is dinkninjas.com, and on Instagram at Dink Ninjas. And you can support this show by subscribing. We promise to have more amazing guests just like Joel on future episodes of Third Shot Podcast. So let's continue to share our enjoyment for the game and grow this pickleball community together. See you next time on Third Shot Podcast.